Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm. So much laughter and joy, and nothing would harm. I can't imagine the stain, the soul-stealing pain that the little boy you must have seen and believed, and the formulation of thought quickly taught that you lived in a cruel, unjust world. Is this why you now decide no one will get the best of you? Is this why you do not hide nor away shy from taking back the world? Was it because so early in life, all that strife racked your little body with fear? If I was your mother, if the world was cold, I'd have died to make you warm. I'd have died to protect you from the unjust, the violence, the terror, the uncertainty. I would have died to give you life. Oh, dear Mr. President Putin, if only I'd been your mother. Perhaps the torture of unwrit youth would not within your heart imbue ascription to such fealty against that world that you thought was so cruel. Perhaps you would hold dear human life, and on this night, instead of Mother Russia, you would call me, and I would set your mind quite free with the love that only a mother can give, and only a mother can take away. When holds she doesn't the harm at bay and leaves her boy for the promise of a man. Whatever your story, Mr. President Putin, I can't imagine how it feels in your heart, but I know if I was your mother, that would be a start towards the awareness of what a powerful being of light you could be if your mind was only free from the violence you've seen when you were just 2 or 3. I cannot believe I was born too late, in a different place, when I would have loved you so, watched you play wherever you go.
Good morning.
Whew, that was tough, buddy.
Well, yeah, and that intro will make sense whenever we get into the main topic of the show.
Well, I've never actually watched that all the way through. I just picked up like the first, 5-10 seconds of it and turned it off. So
probably a wise choice.
Making me sit through that right now, I think was, I don't know. It's like a hate crime or something. It's not fair. It's not
probably. Right. Well, that was the intent. I didn't realize you weren't here for that episode when I ran it the first time.
Am I ever here? Really? Let's be real.
You showed up today, so
Showed up on Fridays.
You got that going for you.
Yeah, man. When you guys talked about that, did you like dissect it?
Dissect her poem?
Yeah.
No, mostly we ridiculed it and talked about how retarded it was.
Okay.
So
someone should do like a real, critical analysis of it. It sounds kind of incestuous, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Yeah, that was very unimpressive.
Anyway, how's the weather, boss?
It's actually kind of nice, like right this second. It's mid-50s, a little bit overcast, but I think it's also going to be like 75 and rain its ass off.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to get a bunch of rain tomorrow. Although it's cloudy as hell today out there. I'm looking out the window. It looks cloudy, but I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be hot as hell too. So summer's here.
Shit, I'd just like for spring to get here. When we keep dipping back into winter.
I hear. I think it's like a weekly thought of mine, but I'm glad that I'm not there up north anymore, because it just, that's what killed me, man. Every time you like get a little taste and then it's like, no, more snow. It's May and there's still snow on the ground, so I forget that. I don't need that crap. Nobody needs that crap. Life doesn't have to be that depressing.
Yeah, did you see there was a video of like a snowstorm with fog in Pennsylvania, and like this truck was on fire and all these other cars and trucks were just like slamming into each other. It was fucking insane. Like one dude was lucky he got out of it alive. Like he was standing outside of his car as another car smashed into his car, and both of them came like that close to just wiping him out. Like,
yeah, he would have been plastered. I think my favorite part of that though is the commentator, the guy filming the video. He's just like, yeah, he's reveling in all the
I gotta
disarray
get
of
my stuff
everything.
out of my car, but it's too dangerous. And look at that truck's on fire. I'm not going over there. Let's go back over here. And then as he turns to like go back over here, you see a semi come plowing through everything. It's like, maybe I gotta get the fuck out of here. So, yes, you do.
It was just like no, I don't know, man. The joy and revelry he found in that was interesting. I don't know. I don't know how it would be in that. I imagine it's a pretty spectacular thing to watch, but I don't know. You dial it down and get down to the nuts and bolts of the people in those cars. Kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I should be so gleeful right now. But,
I mean, he was just living in the moment.
Yeah, I guess. Don't have to worry about that. Well, I shouldn't say that. When it does snow down here, the people get pretty stupid. They don't know how to drive on snow at all.
Indiana people don't know how to drive when it's sunshine and nothing going on. So,
dude, they got some stupid laws down here though. Like there are, and it's not all intersections. There's just some of them. But if you're making the right-hand turn, the guy making the left has the right of way. So you have to yield to the guy crossing like 2 lanes of traffic to make. Yeah, it's retarded. If you're making the right, you have a yield. And there's been multiple times where I've like almost had accidents because it just makes no sense to me. Like this guy's got to cross 2 lanes of traffic and I don't, but I got to wait for him. And
it sounds like Georgia needs to take the New Jersey approach and just do roundabouts and no left turns ever. You know?
Well, I like a roundabout.
You never make a left turn. If you're gonna make a left, you got to make 3 rights.
Yeah, I guess that would probably work. Although I feel like that might be racist or something, or I don't know, ableist. I guess is that the word we're using for the people that don't have left hands, can't make left-hand turns, or I don't know.
Isn't left-handedness like a mental deficiency?
Yeah, I think so.
Like it's something
they try to pawn it off as them being more creative or something, but I think it's like
a defect. That's what it was. I was imagine this. I was reading an article about psychopaths, and psychopathy is it's more of a reaction to so from the study that I was reading, they sort of determined that psychopathy is less of a mental thing, and it's more of a like a natural evolutionary type thing. Like it's more of a reaction to life, and that develops in people who experience extremely typically like I guess there are some degrees to which it is a mental defect, but generally speaking, it's not. It's typically a evolutionary reaction to your environment, and it's more of an environmental thing, not a mental thing. But it was also talking about left-handedness because there's always like this association of psychopaths and left-handedness, and there's not as big of a correlation between the two as what is always played up. But then it also, like the article also goes into an explanation of how left-handedness is actually a mental deficiency. Like it's something that happens like in the womb or like immediately after birth. Like it's a thing that it's a mental defect. Yeah. So if you're left-handed, I'm not calling you retarded. I'm just not saying that you're not.
That's interesting. I wonder how much of it has to do with like the initial stages of life, though, when you're trying to learn how to write and do all these things, and everybody you just don't fit in. You don't fit in from birth. I mean, if you're left-handed, you're just that weird, I don't know, 10%, 9% of the world that Doesn't make sense. Why would you use your left hand? What's wrong with you?
I wonder if Mark's left-handed because
Probably.
he's already a ginger. So, like,
I mean, it would make sense, and all his alt-right propaganda and shit he spews, it definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Well, speaking of birth and being born with defects, apparently this kid is going to have a massive defect, at least as far as his mothers are concerned, specifically because he is a he and not a she. Couple suing IVF clinic for implanting male embryo. A couple in the U.S. is suing their IVF clinic for implanting a male embryo instead of a female one. Heather and Robin, whatever their weird last names are, knew they wanted to become parents, but they tell the Telegraph UK that they were only willing to parent a girl due to Robin's alleged past sexual assault experiences with men. So
the question is, who is she? Was she assaulting the men, or the men assaulting her? Because I can't tell from that.
Which one was doing the assaulting? Which one carried the kid? I'm so confused.
Well, that too. I don't know, man. It makes no sense. It's crazy to me, like, because you go through the like adoption process and stuff, right? And like there are so many hoops and hurdles you have to jump through, and different evaluations you have to jump through. If someone said like, I only want a girl because I've been sexually assaulted and I can't deal with men, like, that's a red flag. That is a huge red flag that you have some serious baggage that you need to work out before you start dealing with a child. Because so who are the knuckle draggers that decided that this couple is okay to, like, yeah, we're gonna do this for you? Like, no, go get your shit straight and then we can talk. Like, it's whew, crazy world. And who would sexually assault them? Let's be real.
That is some real degenerate. If we're so, let's see. It was at the 15-week scan that the couple were told they were going to have a male child. Heather says their jaws dropped to the floor, adding that she was convinced it had to be someone else's result. I felt my body was taken hostage. I assumed it was someone else's embryo, not the wrong embryo of ours. After we found out I was carrying a boy, the internal investigation to determine whose embryo it was took 7 weeks. I was convinced the whole time it wasn't ours because the clinic knew not to transfer a male. It wasn't a preference, it was a need.
God.
I'm going to keep reading. At about 27 weeks pregnant, I started bleeding and was rushed to the ER. I had a placental abruption, which I later found happens to someone who has suffered physical trauma or stress. She admits she struggled to bond. In December 2020, the couple welcomed their son, but Heather admits she struggled to bond with him and began experiencing extreme anxiety and postpartum depression. They are now suing the fertility clinic on 11 counts, including breach of contract, medical malpractice, and battery. Battery. Now, see, that's the fun one, is battery. Because she equates this to rape and physical assault. That's where having a male child goes for these psychopaths. Is it's the equivalent of being held hostage, being raped from within, I guess, and being assaulted.
Rape, opposite rape, backwards rape. How does this work? I don't know.
Right? It's
he's a lovely kid and smiles just like Robbie.
This is kind of a weird dynamic. They take the egg from one of them and mix it up with some baby juice from a dude, and then put it in the other one. And they tried it the other way around to begin with, but that apparently the more butchy chick, this one here on that one, they tried it with that one first, and had a miscarriage. So then they decided to go with the one who looks a little bit less like a man, and it actually worked out.
I mean, I don't know. Like, you hate to. It's nobody's place to say like you should or shouldn't have a baby, But at the same time, like it is when you say things like that, when you do things like that, yeah, like maybe you shouldn't have a child. Maybe like it's not okay. Maybe you're not ready for it, and that just imagine that kid. Imagine that poor kid who's gonna grow up to be like some. He's gonna be cucked his whole life. Like he's just gonna grow up like that, and
Right, this
it's
poor
like
kid
acceptable to be like
Yeah, this poor kid is fucked from the get go. Like, and of course they talk about this dumb, but like he's now 18 months old. I think we connect on our similarities. He's a very compassionate kid. Like, an 18-month-old is not compassionate. I'm sorry. I've got kids of my own. At 18 months old, they don't give a single solitary shit. Like, they're not. Let's not. I love how people always paint all these personality traits onto their babies that are just like ridiculous. I think we connected on our similarities. He's a very compassionate kid. I used to bring him into the garden when he was in my belly and tell him what I was planting. Now we both love trees and we both love dogs. I feel like I know him and how he's feeling. When it's just us, it's amazing. But when we're out in the world, he's a symbol of something, being socialized as the same people who did bad stuff to me. Like, bitch, you was crazy.
Well, that's like it's I don't understand how, like, why. But this is it though, right? I mean, like, there's so many people hold grudges forever now, right? Like, and it's a grudge from 200 years ago. It's a grudge from 500 years ago. It's like certain things are going to be fixed and it doesn't matter. And like, okay, what's done is done. Like, it's trauma, it's traumatic, but like, it's not a whole gender that did this to you. It's some like, it's a couple people, maybe one, maybe two. I don't know. She doesn't say. It's plural, so I assume it's more than one. But like, I don't know. And anytime you see something that ridiculous, you got to question the veracity of it. Like, were you actually sexually assaulted, or is this just like your stage for activism?
Well,
like,
and then the lawsuit, like 11 counts. Like you got
yeah,
you got the wrong egg. Like what you still got a healthy child out of it. Like you didn't
you think that'd be good enough?
You didn't return the kid and ask for a refund. Like you kept the kid, and it's 18 months later. So we're past the return date. Like you had your 30 days. You could have brought your receipt, and you chose not to. So you're stuck with this thing. Like what? I don't. What are 11 counts including battery? Like what the fuck? You asked them to inseminate you. You paid them good money to inseminate you. It's not battery if you pay for it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this, and I need to start being a little more careful with the contracts I draw up for the people who pay me to beat them up. But like, if you're paying somebody to do it, it's not battery. It's you. It was a willful agreement. Like you. Everybody was on the same page here. You knew that you were getting a kid stuck in you. Like, okay, you were under the impression that it was going to be a boy. And, I mean, for all we know, the clinic didn't intentionally put a boy in there, like a male embryo in there. How can they tell? Is there...
That's why I'm wondering, like, how precise can it be? You know what I mean? Like, what level of I don't know.
And that's mighty bold of this bitch to misgender this or to assume this kid's gender. Like the kid's 18 months old. We don't know what it's going to be. It could be a juror or what are some of those other crazy pronoun words? I don't
Tiger.
even. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not creative enough to come up with any of them. Like they're too out there as it is. Like, how dare she assume this kid's pronouns already?
Yeah, you got man.
I bet she gave the kid a real masculine name too, like a real cunt. Like
Butch. His name is Butch.
could have named him Pat or something. So,
What's that? Yeah, man. I just the psychological trauma that kid is no doubt gonna have, like, because she's gonna be telling him about this story from like day one. He's already heard it a million times. Like, it's already been ingrained that like you were supposed to be a girl, and mommy was abused by a man, and she hates men, and all men are bad, and you're gonna be a man someday, and you're gonna be bad. Like, because when you start to collectivize a whole population based on their gender, like that's ingrained. You're not separating the wheat from the chaff there. Like, they're all inherently bad, and it's a poor kid. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't know. It's entirely possible that they are wonderful mothers, and
I'd like to think so, but I don't know if you're like that outspoken about this. If you were willing to go into IVF and you only wanted a female because all men are bad, then I don't think you can do that great of a job parenting. I think there's probably some things that are going to fall short there. But that's just my opinion, which means nothing. So.
And you know what? Maybe it was a godsend that they got a boy. Like, can you imagine what kind of raging psychotic bitch they would have raised if they had a girl? Like, holy fuck! It would have been a consolidation of all of the screeching hoes that you see from like the Trump election and everything. Like, it would have been all of those memes smashed into one horrible human being. Like, maybe this fertility clinic did the world a favor by giving them a boy. Maybe he'll mellow them out a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. If he's anything like my son, he'll just drive them to drink.
Could be. I don't know. But hopefully it all works out. I just
Oh, keep going.
No, I got nothing to say. It's just
I was gonna say,
when you see that shit.
Speaking of drinking, everybody likes a nice cup of tea. So, for some reason, Gen Z is begging millennials to stop teapot posting. You know what?
Where's that article? I didn't get that article.
This is one of Justin's random articles of the day. Sometimes I see stuff that is either so compelling or so stupid that I just have to throw it in at some point. You can decide which of those two this one is.
I'm curious. What is teapot posing? Is that like a?
They're doing that right there. Where they like
put out their arms and.
Yeah, so they got like one arm on the hip and they're doing like the curve thing so that it's the I'm a little teapot.
I'm trying to read it. I can't read it. It's too small. Why? What is the rationale behind this? Why?
All right.
Is this like bad for women? Is bad for your back? I mean,
no. Not it's. Hang on. All right, I'm just gonna read through these first two paragraphs, so that because we have a literally 100% male audience. I mean, I guess my wife counts. She's not a male, and she is part of the audience from time to time.
Not a male all the time.
So we're gonna count her. So we have a what of our regular watchers. So we have a 96% male audience. Actually, I see her popping in and out. Like, she needs to explain the teapot pose for us. Because she would probably do it a lot better. Actually, I have seen some pictures of her from her younger days where she like has this mastered. So we're definitely gonna have to get her on the show to give us a rundown of how this works. I remember it clearly. I was a sophomore in college when one of the girls in my a cappella group stood in front of the classroom we were practicing in and gave us a crash course in posing for photos. So we always looked our best, which basically meant skinnier. Snatched, if you will. She turned to one side, pushed out her chest slightly, arching her back, and then, the pièce de résistance, she perched one arm up against her hip. She called this pose the S-curve, alluding to the curved shape it created. So anyway, the S-curve is perhaps more commonly known as the teapot pose. And as Urban Dictionary explains, I love Urban Dictionary.
I'm looking at Urban Dictionary right now, and it's garbage. It's a garbage definition. It does nothing.
This pose is predominantly used by females of the very basic variety on social media platforms such as Instagram or Facebook. It can be used singularly, but is often utilized for group photos. So here we've got, let's see if this...
So everybody knows this pose, which so many of y'all affectionately refer to as the teapot. It is the go-to pose of millennials everywhere. It's arguably probably the most popular pose there is out there for women above the age of 25. However, could this pose be coming to an end in favor of something else?
I don't want to hear her anymore. About enough of that. But yes, they say that women need to stop doing the teapot pose. And
do the coffee pot pose and just kind of squat down.
Actually, they're moving to they call it the Raptor, where they do like Zendaya here and stand with their arms right in front of them, where it looks like they're holding an invisible purse. This is the new pose that they're going to go to. This is my stepdaughter. She used to do the overgrown cat, like she would stand like this.
Is she like? Never mind.
What?
Nothing. I don't know. It looks like something. Does she wear a helmet?
Who, Zendaya?
Your daughter.
Oh,
doing the overgrown cat pose. You're walking around like, I feel like you. Never mind.
All right. So as of 2022, we're just gonna plow ahead. My daughter should probably wear a helmet because she has a tendency to just like try to run through everything. Like, head injuries are going to happen. But anyway, as of 2022, Gen Z is saying the teapot pose is officially out, and in its place, more natural poses like the Raptor, or as I like to call it, holding an invisible mini purse. See Zendaya below doing the Raptor. I'm like, I don't understand how this is a pose. Like, you're just standing there looking like you. I must start calling this the Ricky Bobby. It's like I don't know what to do with my hands.
But I mean, I can see teapot, how it kind of looks like teapot. That does not look anything like a Raptor.
Here we go. This is the one that I think this is the author and that chick from Scandal with the fish lips. They're doing the deuces, so apparently that is not actually cool. You don't do the deuces.
No, unless you're Asian, you can't do deuces.
Well, I mean, she is Asian, so I guess.
Well, the one girl was, the other girl wasn't, and that I think was appropriation, but I'm not sure.
100%. That's what it was.
It's the weirdest thing. When I was in Korea, like they all did it, and I just didn't understand it then. I still don't understand it, but everybody always. I just don't get it. I don't know.
I mean, like that's. I'm gonna just take a jab at all of the people that I work with, like, or do work for. Most of Liberty podcasting says peace at the end of their shows. Like, where's Carlos? He does it too.
There's one, right? One. Well, no. That used to be like. You remember that?
No.
Oh, Jesus. It's like I think it stems from like Bob Marley, One Love, and it was like a replacement for Peace for like the cool kids for a minute. Or more of like the, I think the kind of
Stoners?
like hip hoppy crowd, like, one. No, seriously, man.
Mm-mm.
You never
It-
know. Jesus.
The only, and say,
You are
I'm
so uncultured.
I'm a little bit more,
White bread flyover boy over there.
yes, I'm a little bit more redneck than you. You may have grown into being a redneck, but I was born in it. Like this is like Bane and Batman. Like I'm Bane in this.
And that's lost on me, but okay.
You never watched The Dark Knight Rises where he said,
Nope.
"You've embraced the darkness, but I was born in it."
No.
Like, yeah, so you've embraced being a redneck, but I was born in it. Like that's what I come from. No, it's typically if you got one finger, it was that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, like that's but okay.
Like, granted, there was a old maintenance man I worked with in Arkansas that like if he walked in and didn't flip everybody off and say "fuck you," you knew it was probably going to be a bad day. Like he was definitely in a mood. which was always really unsettling for like we would get trainees from up north, and they would always send them down to Arkansas and Mississippi for the early part of harvest season because grain harvest in Arkansas and Mississippi is just like absolutely batshit fucking crazy. And so they would always send the Yankees down to spend a month or so with us so they could get a feel for what harvest was like in that part of the world. And it was always really unsettling to them whenever like the maintenance man would walk in and just flip everybody off and say "fuck y'all" and then go get him a cup of coffee. They're like, "Is he mad at us? Or did we do something?" Like, no, calm the fuck down. If he didn't do that, then you should be worried.
See, it's weird because like I don't know how that bifurcation like has grown, because I like growing up, like it was definitely, if you didn't bust somebody's balls, like if I busted your balls, it was because like I appreciated you and I was comfortable and liked you, right? That's how you showed your, I don't know if affection is the right word, but that someone was cool with you. And like I don't get that down here in the South, like a little bit to a degree, but it's much more, there's much more proper, I don't know, greetings involved. So I wonder where that goes, because I wonder if it's just like a class thing, Poor people are used to just busting each other's balls, and it's I don't know.
I'd say everything that passes for bullying in schools and stuff these days is just the way we treated each other on a day-to-day basis. Like
yeah, right, and that's it. Like it's you bullied the crap out of people and you were bullied, and it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't a bad thing. Like once in a while it happened, like for real, like the bullying was like legitimate bullying, and that was kind of frowned on by everyone, like like, dude, you're a douchebag, like, and people would let you know. But I don't know, even like cordial bullying today is not okay. And I don't know, how are you supposed to learn how to get along in life if you can't take a little verbal abuse here and there?
Like we would plan gang fights on the playground. Like a bunch of us would be like, "All right, when we get out there, it's us against y'all, and we're gonna beat the shit out of each other." And it's like, and then you get out on the playground and you beat the shit out of each other, and then everybody go back in, and the next day we'd split the teams up differently, and like, but you would be dedicated to, this is my team, and I hate you and you hate me, and we're gonna go whoop the hell out of each other on the playground, and then the next day we're all friends again until we split teams up again. And it's like, or like I was a tall, skinny, nerdy kid, so naturally I got picked on and bullied a little bit. But then I co-opted the biggest, toughest kid in school to be my best friend, and then nobody picked on me anymore. Like when co-op the main bully to be your best friend, and then all the other little ancillary, or all the other secondary bullies are like, "Ooh, I'm out." And then you don't get picked on anymore.
But that's like you know, that's the corporate world, right? Like, you make friends with the boss and you're going to get ahead. So it's just life lessons, man. Kids aren't getting it these days. Now they just want trophies and be applauded for doing minimal work. And
I physically and verbally abuse my kids on a regular basis. And I think it's good for them. We were in the truck one day, and it was just me and my two, and they were being real quiet. We were listening to music, and I just turned the radio off. I was like, "Am I a good dad?" And they said, "Yeah, why?" I said, I don't know.
They're not going to tell you no. They're going to get beat to hell if they tell you no. They know what to say.
No, my kids are pretty honest.
That's going to lock us with the little piggies again. We're not doing that. Just say yes, Billy. Say
So I
yes.
was like, "Am I a good dad?" And they're like, "Yeah, why do you ask?" It's like, I don't know. I kind of physically and verbally abuse y'all on a regular basis. So, like, I just wanted to make sure, like, that's not negatively impacting you or anything. And my son goes, "Oh no, we know you're kidding most of the time." It's like good. And when I say physically abuse, I don't mean like I beat them with a belt or something. Like I rough them up and knock them around, push them into walls and stuff. You know,
Okay.
normal bullying, not like actual,
No,
like redneck stepdad kind of abuse. Like just normal roughing the kids up a little bit. I think my kids are too soft anyway. So
you got to be able to handle that though. Like if you go through life, not being able to take criticism at all, and where you're going to end up, and that's all that is. That's all bullying is. It's just criticism. And let's be honest, sometimes it comes with a vein of truth. I'm not going to call you a fatty if you're not really fat. If I'm calling you a fatty, you might want to think about it. Like maybe I ought to slim down a little bit, Billy.
It's yeah. I pick on the kids, and then the kids pick on me, and the kids pick on each other. Like they are more abusive and brutal with each other than I am with any of them. And like that, I think that's beautiful. I think you should. We have, for whatever reason, and it happened somewhere after us, but somewhere before, like, I'm not sure where it happened. The kids turn to giant fucking pussies. Like,
I mean, yeah, I think like with the school shootings and stuff like that, with Columbine and that sort of stuff, I think you started to see it then between that and participation trophies. Like, I remember not getting participation trophies and then getting them. Like, I saw that change in my youth. I think you put that, like, don't bully somebody because you don't know if they're going to snap and come to school and blow you up with a propane tank. Like, I think you couple those things together, and it was like out of fear that we, have to change this. And now everybody's super soft because they're afraid of, I don't know, pissing off their own kid. Like, and you knew who to bully. You knew the quiet kid that wore the trench coat, and you just leave him alone because he might do something rash one day. Who you could get away with.
We had a bomb threat called into the school one time, and and like everybody's parents were coming and pulling them out of school and taking them home and stuff. And I was the office aide at the end of the day and would answer phones and sort mail and stuff. And since everybody was getting pulled out of class or out of school, they were just like canceling classes, and whoever was there could go to the gym or whatever. And so I ended up getting taken to the office to answer phones and basically just tell literally everybody who called, we don't have a statement right now. I'll take your number and we can get back to you later. But I called my parents, and I'm like, hey, you gonna come pick us up? Like, are we gonna get out of school? And they're like, no, we know who the kid is that called in the bomb threat. He's too fucking retarded to actually blow anything up. Like, you're staying in school. It's like, great, thanks. Like, I'm glad you're taking this real seriously. I mean, they weren't wrong. Like, knowing who the kid was, he was absolutely too retarded. He would have blown himself up before he succeeded in he might be able to blow up a mailbox. Like,
maybe he tried real hard.
Well,
but that's
he
it.
probably lose some fingers in the process.
It got overblown, like, because everybody was concerned or something. I mean, and I get it, but at the same time, I don't. I remember seeing it written on the mirror, like a bomb threat written on the mirror, and like, get school shut down. It's like, guys, come on, like, this is ridiculous. But with that, there was a kid in school who was going to cut the power lines to school. And he called and left a message on his buddy's answering machine or something, and the friend's mother heard it and like alerted the cops or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and say he was probably lucky, because this is the type of kid who would have decided to cut the wire with, and just been fried afterwards, and just
metal scissors with
no rubber handles, no nothing, barefoot in a puddle of water, like,
would have walked out there with just a metal knife,
a machete, and started hacking at it, like, just that sort of kid. Yeah, but I mean, it's life, and it builds character. Our grandparents told us about walking up hills in snow, and I get to tell them I'm going to school, and somebody might have shot me.
Well, speaking of stories that'll be told to grandchildren, women of color can no longer buy into the inclusion delusion. What'd you think about Fortune's article about Ketanji Brown Jackson?
I didn't read it.
This is like a common theme of the show. I send y'all articles. I say, what did you think about this article? And then y'all say, yeah, I didn't read that. Oh, you sent an article?
I had it pulled up. I was going to read it, but I think this. So what's just here? Women of color can no longer buy into the inclusion. So they're saying that women of color are now being included.
They are. What they're saying is that the treatment of Ketanji Brown Jackson in the Supreme Court nomination hearings indicates that nothing has changed, and that the inclusion delusion is the delusion that Black women are being included in all of these things. That's so
the exact opposite of what I was thinking.
Yes, okay. The Ketanji Brown Jackson hearing has just proven that we are every bit as racist and every bit as misogynistic as we've ever been, and it's never going to change. And all of these Black business women who are CEOs and running businesses of their own and all of this stuff, they've just got to accept the fact that they are never going to be treated with equally, even though that's pretty statistically proven to be not the case. Like, didn't we talk about this on the show a couple of weeks ago? That
you may have. It probably wasn't here, or I just didn't read that article either.
But no. That Black women are currently the most educated demographic in the country. Like, more Black women are getting college degrees than any other demographic.
I wasn't here for that, but I remember seeing like a tweet and a couple articles about that, and about like, I think men in New York City and DC are actually on the opposite end of the pay gap now. There's a pay gap between what women make and what men make, and it goes the same thing with this. I believe it. I mean, but at the same time, like, is that just men being smarter and learning a trade and not taking on $250,000 in debt to go to college to make $60,000 when they get out of school?
Well, and it's all this diversity and inclusion. It's a diversity and inclusion bias that is pushing more Black women into universities, and it's also pushing universities to accept and promote more of this for Black women. So here's a good piece of the article. Companies have stepped up to the plate to hire us, flaunt us in team photos and charity dinners, and offer us up as evidence that they have a diverse workforce. However, they don't pay attention to how challenging it is for us to feel a part of their cultures or what they can do about this. The inclusion delusion fools employers as well as the women of color who accept their jobs. When we arrive, we think our title and position of power will give us the opportunity to create change. Then the truth sets in. What's being asked of us is to fit into an existing culture, not to evolve it. No fucking shit. That is what you are hired onto any job to do. Unless you have been explicitly hired for some purpose to shake things up, to make changes, you have been hired to do a job and to fit into the culture that exists. Not like it's the most insane bullshit. Like why does every diversity hire have to be somebody that's being brought in to completely change an organization? Like these are successful organizations for a reason. They don't need somebody to come in and change everything. They need somebody to come in and be fucking competent and do the job. And
exactly. You know, like if you want to build your own culture in a business, then start your own business. You know, don't go into an existing business that's doing well and try to change things. And then, you know, if I have a prescription that works, I'm going to use it. You know, I'm not going to change it because your feelings might get hurt or because you think you disagree with the way I'm doing things. You know, like, I don't know. She said that, for example, when I realized it was time to leave my last job, it took me 3 years to do so. I fear the questions it would raise and the example it would set for the women of color coming after me. Like that sounds like that's your issue, you know, like
right.
I don't know. I've not, I mean, how long does it take somebody to leave a job? You know, do you just like wake up one morning, I'm going to leave my job and put in your 2 weeks notice? I mean, I would think that it's a drawn out process. You got to weigh all the pros and cons. You got to look at it. You got to figure out where you're going to go next. Can I do this financially? Like it's, you know, you're a dumbass if you know, think it's going to happen at the drop of a hat. Think that's a good idea.
I was going to say, usually when I decide I'm ready to quit a job, I just do it. or there was one instance where I had a bunch of relocation that the company had paid to move me around the country. And so under my contract, if I quit prior to 2 years, I would have had to pay back all of that. Yeah. So instead I deliberately pulled a couple safety infractions and put them in a position where they had to fire me for safety violations. Like I didn't put anybody in harm's way. Nothing got hurt or broke, but I made sure to break enough rules that they didn't have a choice but to fire me. The fucked up thing about that was they could have just fired me over the phone. Like I turned in all my shit. They put me on a suspension while they reviewed the case and decided what they were going to do with me. And they made me come in. Like I had already started my new job. And I had to take a day off work to go to the office so that they could fire me in person. I'm like, really? Like you could have just done this over the phone. Like I'm having to miss a day of work at my new job because you won't. I'm having to miss a day of work at my new job because you bastards made me come in so you could fire me in person. Like really?
Yeah, but that was on purpose. They couldn't let you just go.
Probably so.
Yeah, you know.
They knew they were going to miss me. I doubt that son of a bitch boss I had ever thought about me again. No.
As women of color, you need us more than we need your jobs.
Dag, did you catch, or Clyde, did you catch her dogs?
I caught it by the tail and I just took out the jar of peanut butter. It came running and knew it was in the store. So
actually, let's see.
I saw one of them wandering around back there.
Yeah, he's not there.
White and black one.
Yeah, he's around somewhere.
Oh Lord, family drama. I love it. There's gonna be no dogs.
Oh, so do we need to talk about that article anymore? I don't know.
It's so full of like Like, as women of color, you need us more than we need your jobs. Like, the
Then
audacity
go
to say that, like, you need me more than I need your job. Well, that's fine. Go find another job then.
right,
Like,
quit and start your
well,
own company. Like if you're bringing that much to the table, you're going to be in high demand. Like,
and this is exactly like when people speak out about, you know, affirmative action or civil rights stuff and things like that. Like, this is exactly why you look at, you know, Ketanji Brown there. Like, I'm going to appoint a black woman. Immediately, like, you're raising questions. You know, I'm not appointing the best person. I'm appointing someone because of the way they look. Like, of course there's going to be backlash. Of course people are going to scrutinize you more and look at your credentials more. And it, like, to think that someone is just going to accept you because of the way you look is absurd and insane and just absolute bollocks. But I don't know. That's the world we live in today, I guess.
like this, making workplaces more inclusive isn't a matter of just adding women of color to a few visible roles that sound lofty on paper. It's about reimagining roles to redistribute and remake power. Ultimately, what's the point of hiring leaders who are given no power to lead? I assure you, if you were hired into a leadership position, you have already been given all of the power that you need to lead without reimagining, redistributing, remaking, or whatever this role. Like, we must create spaces where companies can truly listen to what women of color have to say and honor who they are. We must establish policies that support women of color and don't penalize them when they tell their truth. What the fuck does that even mean? What is their truth?
Well, that's it. Like, you can't, when you put pronoun like that in front of truth, right? His truth, her truth, their truth. Like, it's not truth anymore. It's opinion. Okay. That when you have to clarify that a truth belongs to a person, it's an opinion. It's not truth. If you know you want to talk about opinions, that's fine. We can talk about opinions. But at the end of the day, like, a good idea is going to be a good idea. A bad idea is going to be a bad idea, and the company's going to decide that based on their bottom line. So piss off with anything in between. You know,
like,
it doesn't matter.
You're denying my truth. Like, no, I'm denying your delusioned view of reality. Like, just because you think it doesn't mean that it's an abject truth. Like, there are real truths to the world, and just because, and if it's just your truth, then it's just your opinion.
Truth is, Justin's dogs got out, and his truth is he caught them. The real truth is he only caught one. Right?
They're both in here somewhere. I know I opened the door and they both walked in past me. Like, I'm surprised they're not both in my lap right now.
It was a skinwalker.
Because usually I put them out when I do this, but apparently letting them out is how they escape to begin with. So
what they do? Like, you got a fence or something, or they just they dig out?
I have no idea. I don't know. I wasn't here when they got out, and I was still on my way home.
Oh no. I don't know, man. What else we got today?
I don't know. I was thinking about pulling up this the new report that showed 255,000 excess votes for Biden in 6 key states. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. That does it.
18,000 dead people voted for Biden in Georgia. You know, a state where he won by 12,000 votes.
Yep, I saw that. Which, I mean, it doesn't. This part of it doesn't matter, and part of it's not surprising at all. Fulton County, right?
Are they using? Okay, so we've hinted at it. I think that they are, but doesn't it seem kind of interesting, coincidental maybe, that you've got Hunter's laptop with all of the legitimate proof of connections to Ukraine and some shady business and other things that directly link to Joe. And then they're putting Joe up on like national stage a lot more frequently over the last month than they have at any point during his, first year of his presidency, where it is just like gaff attack on crack.
It's
And
bad,
then,
man.
Yeah, and then now you've got all of the it's not coincidental that all of these reports are coming out about these.
So what's the play? Do you think they're going to get him out and put Kamala in?
I don't think they let Kamala stay in for very long. I think they've got an ace up their sleeve to get rid of her. I think they're going to pull. I think they pull Biden out because of all of this like pile of shit that just keeps on building up. They'll have him like step down. They won't force him out, or they won't They won't take it to an impeachment and try to do it like that. Like they will have him be the consummate gentleman and just like gracefully bow out and step down, pass the reins off, and then Kamala will come in, and they'll figure out some way to get her out. I don't think they let her stay in the presidency for more than 4 to 6 months. And so what I want to see is who gets appointed to vice president when Kamala becomes president, because that's the play. That's the person that they think is
Stacey.
there.
I mean, as long as she's not in Georgia, I guess I'd be happy.
You think so? You think they're trying to Stacey as president of Earth on Star Trek was just their way of grooming you to buy Stacey as president of the United States here in about a year?
It worked great in Ukraine, and now we're seeing it here. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think it.
I don't think that far ahead.
I don't know, because in one world I could see that happening. At the same time, I think just based on politics and everything we've seen, I think like none of it matters, and they're just gonna hold on. I don't think there's anything they can do in the next few months before midterms, and then I think even the next election, 2024. I think they're kind of screwed.
They have an order of succession. They have an order of succession that they've decided on. It went, they had Reagan, and then they had Bush. I mean, Bush Sr. may as well have run unopposed.
Yeah. And
then they had Clinton. And then Clinton, for his second term, ran against Bob Dole.
Yeah.
Really? And
off stage, yeah.
And then Bush Jr., remember the whole, hanging Chad?
Yeah, so
Florida and everything.
Was that supposed to go to George,
Al
or was that
Gore,
supposed to be Mr. Al?
Al Gore won, and then all of a sudden he didn't. And nobody, there was some ruffling of feathers, and they put their peacock tails up and they said all the right things, but nobody fought it. The entire establishment Gore won as far as everybody knew and was concerned, and then Bush won, and everybody just moved on with it. And then Bush ran against Kerry in 2004. Was that really a challenger? And then you get Obama, and they ran fucking John McCain and Mitt Romney. It was going to be Obama, and it was going to be Obama. There is a line of succession that is set up, and the only time that it's been thrown out of kilter was Trump in 2016. And
JFK.
Yes.
And JFK ended up dead, and
yeah.
Trump,
I mean, if we want to go back,
neutered.
I was just talking about in our lifetimes, but yeah.
Yeah. No. I think it goes back for. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think it goes back further than that. I think they know, and if they don't know for sure, they have two people that it doesn't matter which one it goes to, because they're both controlled. They're both owned, you know.
And that's what you saw with the Bush-Gore election. Like,
yeah.
I think since Eisenhower, like, I think Eisenhower's exit speech, or his his exit speech, I think with his exit speech, they were like, okay, no more wild cards. Like, we have to make sure that it's somebody that we can trust, because we can't have somebody coming up here and giving a speech like Eisenhower and just like blowing the lid off the whole fucking thing. Even though obviously like nobody in the country has paid attention to that. But yeah, so all right, we went into like a conspiracy hole with the elections, but yeah, I mean there is a line of succession. Yeah. They did what they had to do to put Biden in because they didn't have a better option. I mean, if you looked at that Democratic slate, the only good option of all of those was Tulsi Gabbard. And there is absolutely no way in hell the Democrats were going to let her get anywhere near sniffing a presidential nomination. So, so it was.
I think that they could. I think they would have done okay if they with Mayor Pete. I don't know. I think he could have. I
think he absolutely would have gotten torched by. Like, I don't think they could have fortified that. Like,
I guess maybe that's true. I feel like he would have got but I guess all those people that would have voted for Pete already probably voted for Biden as well.
Like, the demographics that Pete played well to were the people who don't vote anyway. Like young people don't vote, and the demographics that he really plays well to are a vast minority. Like, Pete wasn't going to play well to black people. Like, Pete was a young people and LGBT
QIA plus.
Yeah, I don't know how many letters or characters we're supposed to put in it, but yeah, like he was kind of a niche candidate, and he wasn't necessarily terrible, but he was pretty terrible. And I just don't think I think they looked at that slate and they're like, especially after they tried to push Kamala as hard as they did at the beginning of the primaries, and she just absolutely sucked and everybody hated her. They're
How did she get to be vice president? Like, what?
Because the establishment,
man,
the establishment had decided that black woman that they had 100% control over was who they needed as a candidate. And when it became brutally apparent that they were not going to get her as the presidential nominee because everybody just completely fucking hated her, I think as soon as she dropped out of the presidential race, the DNC had already slated her as the vice presidential pick, regardless of who got the nomination for president.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
And that is a perfect segue into our beautiful outro.
Peace.
Friday. Probably not you, but
whoever. I'll be here Friday.
Oh, you'll be here Friday. We'll see you Friday. All right. Maybe the whole gang will be together on Friday.
I think so.
All right. Later.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.